Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here this Friday morning. Got a big show lined up. A special guest here with us. But first, let's take a look at our weather brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning. Drew Pollard and the hard-working crew taking care of everyday comfort needs. Got a high today of 80, low of 62, and water temperature at the end of the pier is 81 degrees. Let's take a look at our, instead of river reads, let's talk about the full moon coming up this Sunday night. This is an excellent time, a couple days before the full moon like we're in now, excellent time to get out. So really, if you have any kind of opportunity to get out, the fish are going to be jumping in the boat, doves are going to be flying right in front of your gun barrel. There's going to be all kinds of good things going on outdoors. So get a chance to take care of it. Our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. We're looking at this morning good tide, high tide at 9:21, and then it's going out all the way till 6:48 tonight. Good strong tide. A little bit more of a neap tide tomorrow. Let's go into our fish and game times brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers. Our time this morning is 9:53 to 11:53, and tonight 10:17 to 12:17. And we're going to go and take our break, and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. And look who's with us this morning.
That's what happens when you leave the door open.
My buddy Bill. He just come in the door. We left it unlocked, and we tried to keep it locked to keep riffraff out, but you never know.
It's a good lesson.
What you been up to?
Oh man, nothing. I actually loaded up and headed to the mountains.
Yeah,
it's fly fishing time.
You got that trip coming up.
You've abandoned me. My sons have abandoned me. It's just bad timing. It's going to be like it was 25 years ago. It's going to be me and my brother-in-law Cliff up there.
Let me tell you what happened. I got like a 2-day notice that we're going to go to the mountains. and I did have some things lined up. But,
well, Cliff, my brother-in-law that flies for UPS, his schedule changed, so it was last minute. And fortunately, my boss is pretty flexible about me going fishing, so
that's nice.
I talked to myself and said, okay, you can go.
Your boss excused you.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be a good time of the year, the first week of October, right? Getting into.
Oh man, it's early enough this year. There's a lot of bear hunters in that area.
Is bear hunt going on now up there?
No, but it's about to be. Okay. So we're there early because that area up there where we camp fills up pretty fast. You going to camp the same area
we always camp in?
Yep.
Oh,
yep, right
nice.
In the middle of nowhere.
Y'all remember the video?
About 20 feet from the creek.
Yeah.
You know? And fortunately, the storm didn't come here, and I feel for those people down there, but it missed most of that western part of North Carolina where we fish at, so the creeks they didn't get filled up with water and that kind of thing. You know how that one year we went when the water was high, it gets fast, and that's rough on an old man.
Well, I know we're talking about taking special trips and all, and fly fishing in the mountains is one of those special trips.
Well, I love that as much as anything.
In the southwest corner of North Carolina, right? The southwest corner?
Yeah,
southwest corner, right north of Georgia.
In the point of North Carolina, in the Snowbird Mountains.
Snowbird Mountain, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Be sure to take some pictures.
Well, I'll try.
Just the two of y'all going.
It's hard to fish. It's hard to catch fish and take pictures at the same time. Yeah, well, that's, 25, 30 years ago, it was just me and Cliff, but then, our son started going and everything, but schedules are just crazy this time.
Well,
and it was last minute. We have to work around Cliff because of the way he flies.
All right, so getting back here locally, fall, we always like to go to the river in fall. We just hadn't had a chance to go yet.
Yeah, the river's in good shape too.
Ooh, I'm telling you.
Real good shape.
Has Bill Shields been going down there much? Has he been busy too?
He's made, since the last time we went, he's made one trip down there. So, but yeah, this is, I love the fall. This is a great time to fish. You don't ever see us winterizing our boats because this is really the time to go. But But yeah, you know, that whole Howards Creek situation, I love it down there, and we're planning our squirrel hunting trip, of course, with the entire family.
Yeah. The big thing, I mentioned this last 2 weeks, we've talked about flounder fishing and flounder gigging and all, which we both love.
Yeah.
We've got about a week left in it. It's going to be close. So really, this weekend, we're going to talk about it during the fishing report. This weekend, we really need to get out to flounder if you can.
Yeah. It's, what is it, October the 15th through November the 31st?
Which is a week from now, about 11 days, 8.
You know, I agree with most of what they do, but you know, I thought 10 was too many.
Yeah.
5 is fine, but you know, that there's a long-standing tradition. I don't have to tell you guys in this part of the country of flounder gigging at night during this time. I mean, people just live for this time to go, and it makes it. Well, it's kind of hard.
And the difference between then and now, back then, it was not that many people on the water.
Yeah.
Not that many people lived here. But now, everybody gets on, oh, look, we can go flounder gigging. And then everybody and their brothers out there. And
yeah, you really do. It does get kind of busy.
That put a hole in it. That really knocked them out. Instead of just the little hardcore group that would always go. And you know some of the old timers, and they would go on a regular basis. They were successful, and they just got what they were going to eat. They didn't load the boat. They were their own conservationists. But now, and these new lights, you remember the 1,000 lumen bulb? We had a little 1,000 lumen bulb from
Fisher
Station
Hardware. You got them at Boyette and Casey Hardware.
It looks like an airport landing when you.
Bill actually found one in his dad's house.
Did he?
Yeah, an unused one in his dad's house.
But put that in a museum.
You should, but boy, those things would light up the world. They were fragile. If you bumped into something, your night was over with unless you had a backup. So, and we've constructed over the years the research and development going into these lights. I've made 100 different versions of that.
Yeah, all kind of things. We should have documented all the things we did.
That's
we
true.
Probably would have had something we could have patented.
That's true.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So here, my sidekick, Bill Allen. He's always willing to fill in for me, but what happens when he fills in for me, we don't have time to do a show together, so every now and then it's fun to do a show together.
It is.
And you see my sheet right here, there's nothing I have nothing planned. We're talking. We don't have anything to talk about that's planned. We have plenty to talk about outdoors. He's getting ready for his fly fishing trip up there in North Carolina. He invited me on yesterday. He's going to leave tomorrow.
It was the last minute kind of change of mind. But
haven't we talked about that before? As outdoorsmen, you know, those impromptu, just we throw all your stuff together.
Well, it's
those
good.
Trips are good.
Yeah, and you got to get to I think a certain point in life or age maybe that you could get going in a hurry if you need to like that. But and you know it's. You want to go into some of these pictures?
I do now because Victor Haskell. Victor's been part of the Panhandle Outdoor team. I haven't seen Victor lately either, but he's been busy. But he did send me this. My two younger sisters, Connie and Joanne, came for a visit. We had a great time seeing the sights and managed to work in a little bank fishing at a local park. They caught catfish, croakers, pinfish, and even a small trout and redfish. All I did was take off the catch. I didn't manage to get a crab. So anyway, hope to see you soon. Anyway, here's the sisters coming down. We showed them. I'm assuming they're from North Alabama, where Victor's from. And look, they did good. Look at there. But look what all Victor got was a crab. So his two sisters outfished him. And there you go. Good job, Victor. I hope he gets back on the show soon. Tell us what's going on over there in South Walton. A lot of viewers over there. Carl Andrews sent this. Our buddy Carl Andrews. His grandson Jackson and Carson are making memories with Dad and Papa dove hunting on the lease. There were 250 BBs shot through 2 Daisy BB guns.
That's how you start. That's right.
Isn't that cool? Get that BB gun out there. You know they had a good time. And here one more picture Carl sent. Who needs a dog when he got a Carson? That's a good idea. Get the grandkids out there to do the retrieving. One thing too, Bill, we talk about enjoying the dove shoots and all. And the first weekend, I haven't heard on the second weekend, of course, but the first weekend, I didn't get a lot of dove, a lot of good dove reports. I got some guys said it was a steady shoot.
Yeah, I haven't. I don't have all that land up there in Campbellton that we used to be able to hunt for forever, but so I haven't really talked to anybody that's gone a lot. I hadn't gotten reports.
There's 3 different parties in different parts of the Panhandle. It was fair, is what they said.
Yeah.
And talked to one guy. He said he really felt like that storm. He said the dove had figured out the storm was coming in, and they moved because of the storm. I said that's pretty good.
They didn't go south.
They had to head north.
But there was it was a good year with all the rain and everything, and I was traveling the other day, north of town, and the peanut crop, bumper crops.
Yeah.
So, and most of them have all been picked. So it should have been up in that, up in that Campbell, Cottondale area.
Right. The hay on trips we've been taking, they've really made some good hay because it's been so dry.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some big old, up in South Alabama, big old bales of hay, just good looking bales of hay.
You're talking about Carson there. It reminded me of when I was probably only 18 or 19. I had the opportunity with some older guys to go to Argentina on a dove shoot.
You did?
Yeah, and it was you could get guys about that size that came from the villages around there where we were to retrieve them. They were better, for $1 a day. Back then they didn't make $50 a month. Most of their parents didn't, but for $1 a day, or you give them a little extra, they'd run down dove after dove, never lose a dove. We'd have piles of them back there.
I've never been on those hunts. I've seen so many pictures. Who cleans all those birds?
They do. You get somebody. Yeah, we don't. You get somebody to do it, and then of course we ate a lot of them down there. There's pictures with just mounds of dove down there because as they migrate down there, they just destroy. That migration continues. They destroy crops and things like that. Yeah. So they'll even poison certain fields to kill them. That was 40 years, longer than that, 45 years ago.
Were y'all able to bring any birds back home?
But you better no.
You had, okay.
No. We ate them there, gave them to the villages, that were around there. But the people you go with, your lodging and stuff like that, you'd be surprised how many different ways you can eat doves. But no, that was a blast. But there's one thing, there were no 12 gauges down there.
What was the shooting?
You light 20s. Dad had back then Dad had a Remington light 20 that I took down there, and that sure saved you because you went through a bunch of shells.
And really, that's a lot more fun than 20 gauge. Back around here in the early years, everybody had 12 gauge out in Dovefield.
I know, and you don't need it.
No, you don't.
Squirrels either one.
I got that over and under 20 gauge a good while back, and I'll never go back to anything but that on the dove shoot. Same way with quail. Have you done the quail hunting lately? Did you get to go last year?
We did not go last year.
Yeah.
We just had a lot of stuff going on. We didn't go last year, so I am planning on going back this year, and I've actually now got a 28 gauge that over and under.
You did get one?
Okay. Yeah.
We've got about a minute or two left this segment. We're going to go ahead in this third segment. We're going to do our Friday fishing forecast, but we're going to go ahead and let's go ahead and draw now. I'm going to let you do the drawing, so if they don't win, they're going to be mad at you. So you do the drawing. I got if you win, I'll go ahead. This will be a $20 gift certificate.
$20 gift certificate. Aubrey Carroll in Westville.
Aubrey Carroll from Westville. Good lawyer viewer. Good group. Okay.
This is for the snapper?
This is big red snapper.
Big red snapper. Bill Allen. Annette Dauphin from Bio George.
All right. Some familiar names there. Now remember, when you win, go ahead and go down there. You go down there today or tomorrow or first or next week. They'd like for you to come right away and ask for Clay. Clay's always there. Clay watches the show. He's watching right now, and if you ask him how the snakes in his yard are doing, because he killed a big old snake the other day in the front yard, and Ask for Clay, he'll take care of you. And if Clay's not around, ask for Kenny. They'll be right there talking about it.
Yeah.
Something about good fresh seafood.
And bring your driver's license with you.
Yeah.
And don't you guys be going down there telling them you're somebody else
And
trying to get this.
You know, I laugh about that. In what 16 years we've been doing the show, that happened one time in the very early years. I
remember that.
In the very early years, we got it squared away.
Somebody figured it out.
You remember that?
I do.
It's almost humorous that because even then Clay sort of knew who was who. And but anyway, we're going to take our final break. Come back with our fishing report for this weekend. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. First of all, we're talking about our tackle boxes. You know, I've had mine here for 2 weeks. I was going to go over something every day. But I want you to look at the difference between my tackle box and Bill's tackle box. You see who makes most of the money? Who makes all the money? You get a big old tackle box. I got a skin thing.
Or the one that gets all the free stuff. Anyway.
We're happy. We were talking about if we were going to fish this weekend. I'm gonna leave it here. Next week we're going to talk about something. Okay? All right. So if we're going to fish this weekend here in the Florida Panhandle, number one, we're talking about the water's cooling down a little bit now.
Yeah, great time.
So what would you be throwing? What would you be doing?
I've got an assortment of Z-Mans, and that's what all these wallets are. The greatest thing they ever came out with. They fit in here, they clip in, because you know you can't mix the Z-Man with anything else in your tackle box, or you'll have a great big pile of rubber in there.
All fishermen have gone through that, not one time, not 2 times, but quite a few times.
It'll do it, but you know, right now, what we're gonna, you know, you're looking for the mud bottom. You know, we're going into this right in this period of time, looking, you know, to go into that, you know, that mud reflects the sun. It's warmer right there. You know, depending on what tide you prefer. Now, I prefer to fish it falling after the fish have already moved in, followed the bait all the way in the marshes, and then you're getting them on the way out. You know, because they can be, you know, they kind of have the same pattern all the time. But I'm going to slow it down some, and you can still catch fish top water, but maybe not for much longer. But I'm going to slow it down some. I'm going to use the jerk shads here, you know, and depending on, you know, if you can't have a sack full, get the white ones. Yeah. Okay, but otherwise trying to match the water, which is beautiful right now. So fishing it a little bit slower on the bottom. I like to bounce it. I like to use those. Depending on how much wind you got, you know, the smaller lead you can use is always great, but, you know, throwing it up right in the mark, moving it slow, hopping it, and the Z-Man, because they're so buoyant, they'll stand up, so you can leave it sitting there a little bit longer. But we're going to be, while this weather's fantastic, before it starts to get colder and they move up in the creeks, we're going to be, you know, attacking the marshes and, you know, of course, you got some big tide swings and some low tides, so you got to be careful where you're at so that you can get out. But we like to get in as little water as possible and see them.
Well, it's interesting watching the storm last week. We talked about this before, how it blew all the water out of the bay, and all that bait fish went out too. We mentioned it, and then when it started coming back in, you could just tell by the birds coming back in. And it stayed low for several days, and there was a lot of areas that we didn't have a chance to fish. But the bait fish, you follow the bait, and this time of year the bait's going to be
follow it. Which this has been all turned upside down. You can see I got plenty of heads to choose from, but you know, using these, I've talked about them over and over again. These Texas eye, they got the big eyes on them, but you know, you rig that Z-Man on there, and because this is flexible, it'll float up.
Right.
You know, these are the lightweight, super strong hooks, but I mean, it's going to stand there like that and move in the water. And, you know, I've got them in every color under the rainbow, but I also, you know, when I'm swimming baits or the Z-Mans, I've got, these are very popular, and they've got the hook keeper on there. They're not the flexible heads, but these swim very well, so, you know, you can you can replace those with, I think my tackle bag turned over. You can replace those, you know, right now especially I've been doing it a lot more because it's really hard to get those Paul Browns. We've pretty much fished them out of business, I think, and love fishing those. But, you know, you can take those smaller Z-Man and of course the jerk shad.
Now keep in mind too, you know, again, this is the last week of floundering, so if you get a chance to go flounder gigging or catching flounder, this is the time of year to do it, right now, this week. And
these are great baits to do it too, but you know, they come in a variety of colors. These are two of my favorite. White's always, you know, but if the water gets a little bit darker, we can go to something like this. But just, you know, work it slow, keep it down there. They make this swim bait,
a little paddle tail,
that with those heads, you can fish them, you know, just like a Paul Brown. You know, they're buoyant enough. You have to keep them moving a little bit more, but they are extremely good. They are extremely great.
All right. Well, Bill, we appreciate it. We're going to run out of time again, like we always do. We appreciate you dropping in. And
I'll
have a good trip.
bring you back mountain pictures since you can't go.
Bring back some of those brook trout too. We can eat them.
Yeah.
But and folks, if you get a chance to go fishing, go ahead and go now. We've got a full moon coming on Sunday night, so a good time to go. Y'all have a safe trip up there.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank y'all for watching Panhandle Outdoors. We always appreciate the viewership. Do something good today for someone else, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.